Good morning. My name is Mark Krikorian. I'm Executive Director of the Center for Immigration Studies, a think tank here in town that examines and critiques the impact of immigration on the United States. The issue of immigrant use of taxpayer-funded services for the poor has been part of immigration policy since colonial times, where colonies established what we later came to call public charge policies. In other words, prohibiting the immigration of people who were likely to become a public charge, and end up on what we would now call welfare. Obviously, that issue became a whole lot more pertinent as the state grew and as government services for the poor expanded into what we would now call the welfare state, with a wide variety of cash and non-cash type of services. And then obviously, even now, it's even more pertinent given the fiscal austerity that all levels of government are now facing, probably most specifically at the state and local level, which is where much of the welfare expenditures come from. And unfortunately, I think much of the debate on the intersection of immigration and welfare misses the point. Often, for instance, in the 1996 welfare reform debate, much of it was animated by the idea that you could continue to let in large numbers of low-skilled people into a modern society, but somehow wall them off from the welfare state. And on the flip side, immigration expansionists often claim that you can admit huge numbers of low-skilled people into a modern society without any cost to the society or to taxpayers as a whole. And so the report we're releasing today doesn't really specifically address those kinds of misconceptions necessarily, but it does try to offer a statistical overview of what the situation is, not with immigration and welfare overall, but specifically with the welfare that is used by immigrant families with children at home. Because in a sense, that's what our welfare program is designed to do, is to help subsidize the working poor with children. And that's almost a synonym, really, for the typical immigrant, according to our current policies. So Steve Camerata, our Director of Research, is the author of the report and will be presenting the highlights of the findings. The folder out there has the report itself in it, as well as contact information. And then we'll have two respondents, followed by some Q&A. Mickey Kaus, to my left, is author of KausFiles.com, one of the first political blogs, covered the welfare reform debate in the 90s quite extensively. Is author of The End of Equality, which deals with a variety of issues, but including the issue of welfare and welfare reform. And actually, I didn't know this. He's a graduate from Harvard Law, though apparently emerged with his common sense intact. The other respondent at the far end of the table is Ian Murray, Vice President for Strategy at the Competitive Enterprise Institute. Writes mainly on environmental and similar issues, author of The Really Inconvenient Truths, a book from, I guess, a couple of years ago.
1918.
Oh, okay.
So, no, 2018.
Okay.
10 years out of date.
And he likewise emerged from Oxford with his common sense intact. So each of them will sort of give their reactions and thoughts about both the report and maybe the issue in general, and then we'll take Q&A. So, Steve?